I'm Mrs. Vijayalakshmi Ramakrishnan, tutor for physics. Today, I'm going to cover the chapter Work, Power and Energy. Before that, let me briefly run through how to access the revision notes and the test and Clay 6 website. So in our the team of Clay 6, the tutors, physics, chemistry and biology tutors, we have actually summarized and put all the essential things which you have to remember in the NEET revision tests, revision notes actually. Okay, so you can go through that. Let me quickly tell you how to access this. First of all, go to clay6.com. This is the home page. Go to the practice section. You can select the package. Go to NEET premium package. There you can see the revision notes, right? Click on that. So this is the revision notes, which covers for all the three subjects, physics, chemistry and biology. We have given all the essential things which you have to remember for all the topics for both class 11 and 12, right from the first chapter in physics, from unit and measurements to the communication systems, for chemistry and biology. See, you can see everything is there for both class 11 and class 12. The packages offered is now given. Now, this is the way you have to go and enter into the revision notes, and then you can access it. Now, today I'm going to go to the second part of work, power and energy, that is the momentum. I said I'll do more about collisions and momentum today. Momentum is nothing but linear momentum of a body is the product of mass and velocity. Linear momentum of a body is the product of mass and velocity. It's a vector quantity. So P vector is equal to M times V vector. Now, you know, force is equal to dP by dt. Force is equal to rate of change of momentum. So dP by dt. And energy E is equal to P squared by 2M, where P is the momentum and M is the mass. So therefore, P is equal to root of ME, root of 2ME. Kinetic energy is equal to half mv squared. E is equal to half mv squared. Now coming to the law of conservation of momentum. In the absence of net external force, momentum of system is conserved. That is, if the external force, there is no external force offered, then it is going to be zero. The absence of net external force, momentum of the system is conserved. Or in other words, you can say dP by dt is equal to 0 because F is nothing but the rate of change of momentum. So dP by dt is 0. So initial momentum is equal to the final momentum, that is given by Pi is equal to Pf. Bullet fired from a gun is a good example for this. Revert velocity V, or the recoil of the gun, is given by V is equal to minus mv by m, where m is the mass of the gun and small m is the mass of the bullet. See, v is the velocity of the bullet, m is the mass of the bullet, and capital M stands for mass of the gun. Okay? Rocket propulsion is also a very good example for this. So minus dm by dt, that is the mass of the gas ejected per second. Suppose if u is going to be the velocity of ejected gas with respect to the rocket, then the upward thrust is given by u into dm by dt. The upward thrust is equal to u times dm by dt, where u is the initial velocity. Okay. Now coming to the collision. So you often wondered what is collision. So a collision is nothing but, you come across so many collisions when you play a billiard ball, or you would have come across so many accidents also where the truck or the massive van coming and hitting an object. So that is collision. So collision is an isolated event in which two or more colliding bodies exert relatively strong force for a relatively short time. Okay, this is now going to be a very short time. Okay, now when I say types of collision, there are two types of collision. That is elastic collision and inelastic collision. Okay, so now the two key rules for collision are the law of conservation of linear momentum and law of conservation of energy. Remember, two key rules which comes into play during collision are the law of conservation of linear momentum and law of conservation of energy. So let's come back to the type of collision. Collisions between particles can be divided into elastic collision and inelastic collision. Yeah. So elastic collision is in which there is absolutely no loss of kinetic energy. We call that as an elastic collision. See, ideally, before that, let me go for coefficient of restitution, E. It is denoted by the letter E. E is equal to V2 minus V1 by U1 minus U2. That is equal to where V2 is the final velocity and V1 is the final velocity of the second object, and V1 is the final velocity of the first object, and U1 is the initial velocity of the first object, and U2 is the initial velocity of the second object. So velocity of separation after collision divided by velocity of approach after collision. Suppose if E is equal to 1, then we say it is perfectly elastic. Where I told you E is nothing but the coefficient of restitution. E is equal to 1, it is perfectly elastic. E is equal to 0, we say it is perfectly inelastic. So E's value ranges from 0 to 1. Remember that. So when it is ideally, so I told you an elastic collision, there is no loss of kinetic energy. Then you see that the collision is elastic. So examples I can say collision between atomic and subatomic particles are elastic collision, and collision between two ivory balls, that can also be taken as a elastic collision. So here you can basic characteristics of elastic collision. You can say that linear momentum is conserved, total energy of the system is conserved, and the kinetic energy is conserved. Remember, linear momentum is conserved, total energy in the system is conserved, and the kinetic energy is conserved. So obviously the kinetic energy in such collisions is not converted to any form of energy like heat energy, sound energy, etc. So you can say that kinetic energy is conserved here. Okay? But when you come down to inelastic collision is the collision which where you can see some loss of kinetic energy in inelastic collision. There is always some loss of kinetic energy in most of the collisions. So some of the inelastic collisions which come in day-to-day life are say two bodies you can also put this way, two bodies when they stick together after colliding, the collision is said to be perfectly inelastic. See, after collision, when the bodies stick together. So this is what is a common scene when you see during the accidents. A heavy truck, when it comes and collides with a car, you can see often they stick together, right? So this is one form of energy where you can see this perfectly inelastic. For example, you can another one I can say is mud thrown on the wall sticks to the wall. You take a round ball of clay, and then it should be wet, and when you throw it on the wall, you can see it sticks to the wall, right? That is perfectly inelastic. Okay. The basic characteristics of inelastic collisions are linear momentum is conserved, total energy is conserved, but kinetic energy is not conserved. Remember, kinetic energy is not conserved. Okay. So part of kinetic energy is converted to some other form of energy like heat energy, sound energy, etc. So we can ideally put for an ideally elastic collision, we can say V2 minus V1 is equal to U1 minus U2. For perfectly inelastic, you say E is equal to 0. So V2 vector is equal to V1 vector. Inelastic collision, 0 times V2 minus V1 is equal to E into U2 minus V1. So these are the points you have to remember very carefully while solving these problems. Okay. So head-on collision, Head-on collision is perfect. For a perfectly elastic collision, it is now going to be V1 is equal to M1 minus M2 by M1 plus M2 into U1 plus 2 into M2 by M1 plus M2 into U2, where M1 is the mass of the first object, M2 is the mass of the second object, U1 is the initial velocity of the first object, and U2 is now going to be the velocity of the second object. If all these values are known, then you can calculate the final velocity of object V1. Suppose you need to calculate the velocity, final velocity of the second object V2, then you can apply this formula 2m1 by m1 plus m2 times u1 plus m2 minus m1 by m1 plus m2 divided by m1 plus m2 times u2. So you'll have to look into the problem, carefully analyze what is being asked, look into the data given, and then you'll have to decide which formula to use. So as I told you, this lesson has a weightage percentage of 4%, means you can expect at least 2 questions from this lesson. It's a very, very important lesson. So we have actually summarized all the formula which is essential to cover the this chapter. So go through the neat notes more than 2 or 3 times, and then you can as well take the tests. I'll be guiding you how to take the tests also before completing. Then let us complete this. Perfectly inelastic, when the bodies stick together after collision, you can see common velocity V is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 divided by m1 plus m2. So for perfectly inelastic, when the bodies are going to stick together after collision, right? So in that case, it is now going to be common velocity V is equal to m1 u1 plus m2 u2 by m1 plus m2. If delta E is going to be the loss in kinetic energy during collision, then you can say it is equal to half times m1 m2 divided by m1 plus m2 into u1 minus u2 the whole square. Again, m1 is the mass of the first object, m2 is the mass of the second object, u1 is the velocity, initial velocity of the first object, and u2 is the initial velocity of the second object. So delta E is now going to be the loss in kinetic energy during collision. Suppose a ball is going to be dropped from height h on a floor. What is now going to be the total distance covered by the ball h, which is now going to be h times 1 plus e squared by 1 minus e squared. The total distance covered by the ball h is now given by h times 1 plus e squared divided by 1 plus e squared, where you know e is the coefficient of restitution. Total time to stop rebounding is t is equal to root of 2h by g into 1 plus e by 1 minus e. Remember this. These are the formulae which you have to remember while solving the problems related to work, power and energy. Today we did in detail about the collision between objects. So you might be asking, you might be wondering whether can kinetic energy of a system be changed without changing in momentum, or can a momentum of a system be changed without changing its kinetic energy? Yes. Say for example, when a bomb explodes, the linear momentum is conserved, but the kinetic energy is not conserved. Kinetic energy changes. That is now going to be transformed in the form of heat energy and light energy. Remember, this is very, very important because children often confuse. They are under confusion, like when there is inelastic collision, whether they change the energy, the conservation of momentum is satisfied. Yes, it is satisfied. You have to know that there is the linear momentum is conserved, whereas the kinetic energy or the conservation of kinetic energy does not happen. This is the important point you have to know. Okay. So collisions, when a body strikes against another body or one body influences the other body from a distance, then you say this collision. Okay, so I have quickly gone through the important formulae which is related to this chapter. Now let us go to the tests and how to access the test. How can you take on the test? Let me quickly explain it to you. So click on the physics tests. Basically, you can see tests for all. Oh, I'm sorry. Go to the premium. need pre-med. You have physics, chemistry, biology. You have different number of tests. You have need full tests also. So you can click on the physics tests. You have chapter wise tests. To go to work, power and energy. Today I'm going to solve the 5th test. Click on take test. Go to test. The first question comes. A body of mass m at rest explodes into 3 parts having masses in the ratio 1:1:3. If 2 parts have equal masses, move at right angles to each other with 10 meters per second each, what will be the velocity of the third? So let us take the masses to be, mass of each part to be m/5, m/5 and 3m/5. Let us take this 3m/5. So moment of each part flying at right angles will be the same, and they are now going to be at say at an angle of 45 degrees to the third part. So we can now put it like this. So this is now going at this. The other one is going at this. So this angle is 45 degrees. Okay. So that means 2 are now going to be in the same direction. So now I can put it as m/5 times 15 cos 45 plus m/5 times 15 cos 45. So when you add this, that is now going to give you, now you know cos 45 is now going to be 1/√2. So when you add this, that will give you 2mv/, that is now going to be equal to 3mv. That is the third part, 3mv/5. So when you calculate the momentum of these two, that is the first part and the second part, that is now going to be equal to the momentum of the third part. So that gives you 3mv. Now equate, we need to calculate v, right? So equate both. So 15/√2 plus 15/√2 is equal to 3v, or v is equal to 10/√2, or which is equal to 5√2 meters per second. Let's see which option is correct. 5√2, option B is correct. Save that, go to the next. An object of mass m is allowed to fall from rest along a rough inclined plane. The speed of the object at the bottom of the plane is proportional to what? Here we have to use the work energy theorem, which states that half mv squared is equal to half mv squared is equal to mgh minus mu mg cos theta h by sin theta. Now h by sin theta is now going to be the length of incline, where h is the height of or the length of incline or the height of incline. Theta is now going to be the angle of inclination. So V is given by V is equal to root of 2gh minus 2 mu gh cot theta. So from this we can see that V is, it is independent of mass. You don't have mass anywhere. So that means V is proportional to m raised to the power of 0, which means A option is right. Click that, go to the third question. Velocity time graph of a particle moving in a straight line is shown. Mass of the particle is 2 kilogram. Work done by all the forces on the particle in time interval between t is equal to 0 to t is equal to 10 seconds. Yeah, the diagram is given. This is the velocity time graph which is given. Now let's quickly solve that. Yeah. From the work energy theorem, you know, work done is equal to change in kinetic energy. So I can put W is equal to delta KE, okay, delta KE, which is equal to KF minus KI, where KF stands for final kinetic energy and KI is for the initial kinetic energy, which is equal to half m into Vf squared minus Vi squared. So substitute the values. Half into 2 into 400 minus 100, which is equal to 300 joules. Let's see which option is correct. Yeah, option A is correct. Click that. Go to the second. Go to the fourth question. A 1 kg block collides with a horizontal weightless spring of spring constant 2 Newton per meter. The block compresses the spring 4 meters from the rest position, assuming that the coefficient of kinetic friction between the block and the horizontal surface is 0.25. What was the speed of the block at the instant of collision? Yeah, let's quickly solve that. Here, now let us take the velocity of the block at the time of collision be V. Okay, let us take that V. Now, the kinetic energy of the block is equal to the kinetic energy stored in the spring plus kinetic energy spent during the work against friction. So, now let me put it as half mv squared is equal to half kx squared plus mu k mgx. Mu k is the coefficient of kinetic friction. So that is now going to be equal to, now let me substitute the values for m is equal to 1, b we don't know, keep b as v squared is equal to half into k is given as 2 into x is given as 4, so 4 squared plus kinetic mu k is given as 0.25 into, let us take mass is given as again 1. This is, let us take g as 9.8 and the displacement is 4. Now, having known all values, simplify that. That will give you 16 plus 9.8. Okay, 64. So, or v squared is equal to, when you calculate this is now going to give you 25.8. So, v squared is equal to 2 into 25.8, or v is equal to square root of that, which is nothing but 7.18 meters per second. Let's see which option is correct. Option A is correct. Click that. Go to the fifth question. A cord is used to lower vertically a block of mass m, a distance d, at a constant downward acceleration g by 4. Then the work done by the cord on the block is how much? Let T be the tension of the spring. Let us take the tension of the spring to be T. So now we know mg minus T is equal to mg by 4. So according to the given condition, it is mg minus T is equal to mg by 4. Or from this we get T is equal to mg by 4. Sorry, mg minus mg by 4. mg minus mg by 4. Okay. So that should give you 3 mg by 4. That is equal to 3 mg by 4. Work done by tension is now going to be work done is equal to minus T times D. Negative sign indicates it's going in the other direction. So minus T by D, which is equal to, now substitute, you know, T value, substitute that, that gives you minus 3 mg by 4 times displacement is D. So D. If the value of D is given, you can substitute, but since D is not given, we can leave the answer as it is. Which option is correct? Option A is correct. Click that, go to the next one. The potential energy of a force field F vector is given by V of xy is equal to cos of x plus y. The force acting on the particle at position given by coordinate 0, pi by 4 is how much? Here, we'll have to use the concept of partial differentiation. Now, let us take U to be the potential energy. U is equal to the potential energy. So, he says U of xy is equal to cos of cos x plus y. That is equal to cos x plus y. But f of x is equal to minus of dou u by dou x. So this is where I told you, you'll have to bring in the concept of partial differentiation. Partial differentiation means you have to differentiate only with respect to x. So y should be a constant here. So which means this is now going to be minus of dou by dou x of x plus y. So as I told you, you are going to differentiate only x. Here y is going to be constant. So sorry, cos. You have to put cos here. Cos of x plus y. So that would give you, so f of x is equal to, so when I differentiate cos, I'll get it as sine, right? So that will give you, when you differentiate cos, it's going to be minus sine. So minus of minus, the symbol, negative symbol goes off. So you'll get it as sine of x plus y. When you differentiate x, it will be 1. So you get f of x is equal to sine of x plus y. So at 0 point, f at 0 comma pi by 2 is given as, now you know sine pi by 2 is sine, sorry, pi by 4 it is given as. So f of x will now become 1 by root 2, because sine of pi by 4 you know is 1 by root 2. Then coming to fy, let us calculate fy. Fy is equal to minus dou u by dou y of cos of x plus y. Here I told you we are going to consider x as a constant and y is going to be the variable here. So that is now going to give you sine of x plus y. Again, when you differentiate y, it will be 1. So at fy at 0 comma pi by 4, again you'll get it as fy is equal to 1 by root 2. Therefore, f is equal to fx plus fy, which is equal to 1 by root 2 I plus 1 by root 2 j, or take 1 by root as a common factor, you get it as I plus j. Let's see which option is correct. Option B is correct. Click that. Go to the next one. A block of mass m is being pulled up a rough inclined plane by an agent delivering constant power P. Coefficient of friction between the block and the inclined plane is mu. The maximum speed of the block during the course of ascent is how much? Slightly difficult. Let me explain you using the FBD. That is a free body diagram. Let this be the inclined plane. Let this be the angle theta. So the block is here. So you can see this is now going to be mg. Obviously, this is now going to be the reaction. This is now going to be the force F, frictional force F, and this is now going to be the mg sine theta. So we have drawn all the, so the acceleration is now going to be in the upward direction here. So now you know A is equal to dV by dt. A is equal to dV by dt. Force due to power P is given by F is equal to P by V. If F is equal to mu r, then F is equal to mg sine theta minus mu r, which is equal to mg or ma in this case. Of course, mg. So P by V is equal, or P by V minus, I'm substituting in the place of F, I'm putting it as P by V. Okay. So that would give you P by V minus mg sine theta minus mu mg cos theta is equal to m into A is nothing but dV by dt. dV by dt. Now velocity is maximum when dV by dt is 0, then V max is 0. So now let me put it as P of V max is equal to mg sine theta plus mu mg cos theta. Therefore, we need to calculate V max, right? V max is equal to P by mg sine theta plus mu mg cos theta. Let's see which option is correct. You can see Option A is correct, right? Mg sin theta plus mu mg. Yes. Quickly save that. Go to the next question. A particle moves with a velocity v equals phi I minus 3j plus 6k meters per second under the influence of a constant force F is equal to 10I plus 10j plus 20k newtons. Instantaneous power applied to the particle is how much? Let's solve that. Now, you know, P is equal to F vector dot V vector. Now, it's a dot product. Remember, it's a dot product. So that means F is given, V is given. F is phi I minus 3j plus 6k times, this is V, okay? Let me write it clearly. V, 10I plus 10j plus 20k, which is nothing but 5 tens are 50 minus 3 tens are minus 30. 6 into 20 will give you 120. Quickly calculate that. That gives you 140 joules per second. Let's see which option is correct. Yeah, B is correct. Click that. Go to the next. A potential energy of 1 kg mass free to move along the x-axis is given by Vx is equal to x to the power of 4 by 4 minus x squared by 2 joules. Total mechanical energy of the particle is 2 joules. Then the maximum speed is what? So here it is given the velocity is maximum when the kinetic energy of the particle is maximum. Remember, velocity of the velocity of a particle is maximum whenever the kinetic energy is maximum and potential energy is minimum. So kinetic energy is maximum and potential energy is minimum. Remember that. Only then the velocity will be maximum, or in other words, we can put it as dv by dx is equal to 0. So this implies x cubed minus x is equal to 0, or factorize this and find out the value of x. You can see that x is equal to plus or minus 1. So potential energy is minimum when x is equal to 1. So minimum potential energy, or I'll put it as potential energy minimum is equal to, so it is now going to be 1 by 4 minus 1 by 2, which is equal to minus of 1 by 4 joules. Now, you know, now he says, now look into the problem. He says kinetic energy plus the total mechanical energy, he says. That means mechanical energy is kinetic energy plus the potential energy. So K E max, that is the kinetic energy max is given by plus potential energy minimum is given by 2 joules. We need to calculate this. So that is given by kinetic energy max is equal to 2 minus, we have already calculated potential energy as minus 1 by 4. 2 minus of minus 1 by 4 will become plus 1 by 4, which is equal to 9 by 4 joules. So 9 by 4 is equal to half mv squared max. Okay, mv max squared. So now you know the mass is given as 1 kg. So you can take it, you can substitute the value that will give you, from this we can calculate 9 by 4 equals 1 by 4 into 1 into V max squared. So from this we can calculate V max squared is equal to 9 by 2, or therefore V max is equal to 3 by root 2 meters per second. So let's see which option is correct. Option A is correct. Say that. Go to the next. In the arrangement as shown, a mass m is released from rest with spring unstretched. What is the speed of block at equilibrium position? This is an interesting question. At equilibrium position, when net force acting on the block is 0, what do you get? You get it as Kx0 is equal to mg. From this, you get x0 is equal to mg by k. Now let V be the speed of the block in this position. Now apply the law of conservation of mechanical energy. Then you get mgx0 is equal to half mv0 squared plus half kx0 squared, where k is going to be the spring constant. Okay. So from this we get V is equal to, or V0 in this case is equal to root of 2g x0 by k by m x0 square. I have simplified and found out V0. So from this, but you know, x0 is nothing but mg by k. So we can substitute that value, simplify that, then V0 is equal to root of 2g. Instead of x0, I'm going to put it as mg by k minus k by m times mg by k, the whole squared. Now, on simplifying this, we get V is equal to, V0 is equal to g into root of m by k. Let's see which option is correct. Option, just a second, m by k, right? M by k. Yeah. Just a second. G root of m by k. G root of m by k. It's there is a printing error. It should have been m by g root of m by k. It should have been that way. So B option is correct. Save that. Go to the next. Two masses m1 and m2 connected by light spring rests on horizontal plane. The coefficient of friction between the masses and surface is mu. What minimum force has to be applied in horizontal direction to the mass m1 in order to shift the mass m2? G is equal to 10 meters per second square. Okay. Block m2 will shift if kx is equal to mu m2g. Okay. Let us now keep this as one equation. Now for the mass m2, for the mass m2, you'll have to equate the energies with work done by force F. Now what will be the work done by the force F? Work done by the, let me put it as work done by force F is equal to potential energy of the spring plus work done against friction. Okay. Work done against friction. That is, I can put it as F. From this we get Fx is equal to half kx squared plus mu m x g. Mu m1 xg. Okay. So, or kx is equal to 2f. On simplifying this, you get cross multiply, take the LCM, cross multiply, simplify that, you get 2f. My kx is equal to 2f minus 2 mu m1g. Let us have this as the second equation. Now solve on equating, because that also represents kx, this also represents kx. So we can equate 1 and 2. On equating and simplifying, you get f to be equal to m1 plus m2 by 2 mu g. Let's see which option is correct. Yeah, option B is correct. Check that, go to the next. A train of mass 2 into 10 to the power of 5 kg has constant speed of 20 meters per second uphill, inclined at theta. Sin theta is equal to, given as 1 by 50 to the horizontal, when the engine is working at 8 into 10 to the power of 5 watts. What is the resistance to the motion of the offered to the train. So take G as 9.8 meters per second. Okay. Quickly note what are the data given. So here, you know, power. From power, you can now calculate for the force. So, you know, power is equal to F times V, or F is equal to P by V. Quickly substitute for power. Power, you know, it is given as 8 into 10 to the power of 5 divided by velocity is given as 20. So, which is nothing but 4 into 10 to the power of 4 newtons. So at constant forces, at constant speed, forces acting on the train is in equilibrium. Now you can resolve the forces which is parallel to the train. Now I can now resolve and write F is equal to R plus mg sine theta, because it is going uphill now. So you can now take this as R plus, you can quickly even draw the free body diagram and resolve the components and find out what is now going to be the force, which is now going to be the reaction plus mg sine theta, okay, which is equal to 4. Now, you know, R is given as 4 into 10 to the power of 4, okay, plus mg sine theta. So that is now going to be, so the force is now, sorry, the force is now going to be this much. That is equal to, we don't know, R plus 2 into 10 to the power of 5 is going to be the mass of the train. G is 9.8 and sine theta, he says it is 1 by 50, he says. You can take that. From this you can calculate. So given force is equal to 4 into 10 to the power of 4. We don't know reaction. M is given as 2 into 10 to the power of 5. Take G as 9.8 and sine theta is given as 1 by 50. Now calculate, simplify and calculate. You can find R to be equal to 800 newtons. Which option is correct? 800 newtons. Yes. Go to the next question. A block of mass 0.50 kg is moving with speed of 2 meters per second on a smooth surface. It strikes another mass of 1 kg at rest and they move together as a single body. The energy lost during collision is how much? So quickly note the data and decide what formula you are going to use here. So let m be the mass of the first body and mass of the first body. And let capital M be the mass of the second body. Okay. Or the initial mass. Okay. Let it be the initial mass. Initial mass of the body. So kinetic energy of the system, initial kinetic energy is given by half mu squared plus half m into 0, because initial mass is initial velocity is now going to be 0 for the mass, initial mass. Okay, when that is, so I can put it as 0 squared. Okay, that gives you, so this is now going to become 0. So now this will become half into, now substitute for mass, it is now going to be 0.5. And u is given as 2, so 2 squared. Note, the initial mass of the body is m, so the initial velocity is 0. And once after collision, the mass of the first body is given as, we have taken it as m. So the initial velocity of that body is now going to be taken as u. So we have calculated, that gives you 1 joule. So for collision, you have to apply, I told you, collision, you'll have to apply the law of conservation of linear momentum, so that because it is now going to stick. So it is going to be mu, it is inelastic collision. So mu is equal to m plus m into v. This we have calculated. 0.5 is given as mass. Small m is 0.5. U is 2 is equal to, this is now going to be 0.5. 1. Capital M is 1 plus small m is 0.5. We don't know v. Calculate v. So from this we can calculate v is equal to 2 by 3 meters per second. Let's see which option is correct. 2 by 3. 2 by 3 is 0.33. It goes on. So we can take 2 by 3 is, wait, we have not completed the sum. Once again. we have calculated V to be 2 by 3 mil. So we need to find out the final kinetic energy. Yeah, they are asking for final kinetic energy. Final kinetic energy Kf is equal to half into 0.5 times 1 into 2 by 3 into 2 by 3. Oh, sorry, to 0.5 plus 1. This stands for small m and this stands for capital M. So capital M plus M, okay? So this is capital M, this is small m times V squared. So we have calculated V, right? So we know all the values we can. So remember, kinetic value, final kinetic friction is given by half M plus M into V squared. M plus M into V squared. So in that case, it is now going to be half into 0.5 in plus 1 into 2 by 3 into 2 by 3. That gives you 1 by 3 joules. So what is now going to be the energy lost? Energy loss, because they are asking you for the loss of energy. So that is now going to be 1 minus 1 by 3, which is equal to 2 by 3 or 0.67 joules. Let's see which option is correct. Okay. Let's go back to the test. See, even if you have completed it, you can go to the test any number of times. So I was doing the 13th problem, right? Yeah. So 0.67, option A is correct. Save that, go to the next. A pendulum bob of mass M carrying a charge Q is at rest with its string making an angle theta with a vertical in a horizontal, uniform horizontal electric field E. The tension in the string is how much? Let's calculate. Okay, let me quickly draw the diagram. So this is going to be theta. Now this is going to be the weight mg, which is acting downwards. Obviously the reaction is now going to be opposite. You can resolve this into two. The tension can be, because the tension is now going to be along in this direction, so it will be resolved into two components, that is T sine theta here and T cos theta here. Okay, T cos theta. So T cos theta and mg are equal and opposite, though, so they will get cancelled. So this is now going to be GE. Now from this free body diagram, we can now see that T sine theta is equal to GE and T cos theta is equal to mg. Or from this, we can infer T is equal to, this is now going to be 0 because it is not going to be, they now cancel out each other. So therefore, the resulting force is only going to be this. So T is equal to GE by sine theta. Let's see which option is correct. GE sine theta. Option B, yes. Save that, go to the next. An electron of mass E collides head-on with an atom of mass M. As a result of collision, a certain fixed amount of energy delta E is stored internally in the atom. The minimum initial velocity possessed by the electron is how much? That's interesting. Here we have to use the conservation of momentum before, what is not, you have to use the conservation of momentum here before and after collision. Now let us take the momentum before collision as m into v plus m into 0 is equal to, after collision it is now going to be, since it is inelastic collision, it is going to stick on, so it becomes m plus m into v dash. Let me put it as v dash. See, the momentum after collision is now going to be, it is now going to stick on, because this object is not having the velocity initially, but later on after it collides with its particle, it sticks on to that. So I have taken the total mass to be m plus m into v dash. Or from this we can calculate v dash is equal to mv by m plus m. Now what is going to be the kinetic energy of this combined mass? No, kinetic energy is half mv squared. So I can put it as half. M is going to be m by m plus m, because that is now going to be the total mass, into v squared. So that is now going to be the energy delta E. Okay. Or from this we get v squared is equal to delta E into 2 into m plus m divided by m. Or v is equal to root over 2 delta E m plus m divided by m. Let's see which option is correct. Yeah, you can see option A is correct. Yes, because m plus m. The other one is given as m minus m, so we can't take that. So take this option. Say, so we have completed the test. End the test. Of course, I took a great. I took more time to finish the test, so that's why I had to come back and do it. You can see the green ones tell you that the answers are correct. The red one says that your answer is not correct. In case of incorrect answers, you can go and check your answer. Suppose say your first or second question. Let us say first question was not correct. Click that. You can see a body of mass at rest explodes into 3 parts having masses in ratios 1:1:3. So this question goes, see, the correct answer is 5√2. In case you had answered wrongly, you can verify. Of course, you have the explanation part also, can verify your answer. So with this, you can take the test any number of times, go to the NEET revisions, make yourself thorough with each chapter. You can take the chapter wise tests. You have lots of tests chapter wise. So make thorough of the informations given in the NEET revision tests. Make thorough of the formulae. Read the question properly, because see, it is only half an hour. So this speed, by practicing more and more frequently, you can as well, manage your time also during your exams. So this is now going to be of real help. Okay, so you can take the NEET package and take the revision notes. This NEET revision notes comes along with the package, so you can choose your package and take the revision tests any number of times. And you also have the NEET full revision tests also. After thorough with all the 3 concepts for physics, chemistry, and biology, you can take your full length tests also, and can get very good results in your NEET exams. Thank you, children.